Mr. President, as we complete our talks, I wish to express my appreciation to you for your frankness and candor in discussing the problems that we mutually face in Vietnam. And I know that you share with me the sentiments that were expressed in our communique, which has already been distributed to members of the press. I believe that that communique indicates the progress that has been made and the progress we can expect in the future toward a resolution of this struggle which has torn apart the people of North Vietnam, which has cost your people so much in men, in lives, and has cost our people as well. And I would like to say finally this one personal word. You have a long journey. You will be back in Saigon tonight because of the time change. You will be speaking to the people of South Vietnam when you arrive. And would you extend to the people of South Vietnam, from the people of the United States, our good wishes. We know how they have suffered. We share with them the tragedy of war. We want for them what we have for ourselves, the blessings of peace within our own country and within your own country.
Mr. President, thank you very much for your very comfortable words. I can say that our first meeting here in Midway is very useful, and it's not like some speculation before I arrive here, that there is some difference between President Nixon and President Thieu, and I have to come here to dissipate or to discuss again on those differences. It's not true. I come here for more understanding and closer cooperation, for more common position between President Nixon and I. It's not for difference, because we have had no difference before. You may mention about the 8-point program of President Nixon for peace. I ask you to remember that immediately after the President Nixon have his speech, I said that it's consistent with the position of Vietnam. It's very consistent of my 6 point. So we have close consultation before, and we have a very close understanding on that. So I come here to discuss with President Nixon to have better cooperation and to have a better common position. I think in the future, when the circumstances demand and when we have opportunity, we may agree together to meet again. So I think it's the best way to have closer cooperation between two governments and two people. Never forget that the blood and the human life are precious to anyone, to any people, at any time. So I think once again we are very grateful, and the Vietnamese people, the whole Vietnamese people is very grateful for the sacrifice that the United States people have accepted and continue to accept it, to join us in defense of freedom and defend the common cause of the free world. But once again, I say that we will do our best from now on to alleviate the burden of the American people. And we have to do our best to deserve the noble sacrifice that the American people have accepted for Vietnamese people. And once again, I hope you understand well my English, and I'm ready to leave for Saigon. And I sincerely thank President Nixon for the useful talks, for the heartfelt welcome, the hospitality of the people in Midway Island. It's the first time I know this, and it's very interesting. And I think that you may join us to share the success of this meeting. Thank you.
At the moment, there seems very little coordinated opposition to you. Do you think that opposition would ever be sufficient to interfere with the election?
I think I do not prohibit the opposition, but I have said that you can be opposition, but it's only one condition, as to abide by the Constitution and the law. You can say anything you want. You can have a press conference, you can issue any communique, you can organize any conference you think, but you cannot use force and violence for that. I think many times I hope that I would have to have a real opposition in the country, because yes or no, we would like to play democracy or not. If really we would like to have a real democracy, we would be much better to have a real opposition, and a good opposition. I mean good opposition, I mean well organized. Yeah.
Do you expect Vice President Key to lead any opposition, perhaps even violent opposition to you?
I am not against anyone, even Vice President Key, who lead in legal opposition and a real opposition to the government. But I think that I never authorize any violent opposition here in Vietnam, because I think the violent opposition is against the Constitution, against the democracy, and against the interests of the people, and nobody wouldn't approve that.
Do you think the Vice President will respect that?
I don't know, frankly.
What sort of a vote do you think you will get next Sunday?
I cannot guess. I cannot predict that, because frankly, I have explained to the people how they can vote against me, and I have shown them many times on the TV, on the radio, on the press conference, that they can vote against me by illegal ballot, and I have shown them many ways to make the ballots illegal. And I am not afraid of that, because I would like that they would like to make a decision on that. And also I would like to be to have that very clearly expressed, and very frankly and democratically freely express opinion from the people. So I know what I am, I know what I will be, and I know to what degree they approve me or they oppose me. So I cannot predict that. It depends upon how they judge what I have done for the country, and how they are confident on what I can do for the country. And the most important is the peace, issue.
What percentage of the vote of confidence do you think you will get?
I don't know yet. Wait a little bit tonight or 2 more days, because I have said very clearly, if the non-confidence vote are 50%, I will withdraw. That does not mean that the confidence vote at 50%, that does not mean that I will immediately accept another 4 term. I will consider all factors after I have the final conclusion. But to me, the fact that I stay 4 more years or not is less important than I make peace in Vietnam in my term.
Thì cái điều mà hôm nay tôi muốn kêu gọi đồng bào với anh chị em là không có cái gì mà mình phải hoang mang, mà trái lại mình phải chuẩn bị sẵn sàng, phải củng cố hàng ngũ dân quân phải chặt chẽ, từ cái biện pháp quân sự lẫn cái biện pháp an ninh lẫn cái biện pháp bình định lãnh thổ, những cái vấn đề làm cho ổn cố hậu phương, từ cái chuyện lớn mà về thực thi cái luật pháp cho đến cái vấn đề mà bề ngoài, cũng như là cái vấn đề cờ xí biểu ngữ sơn đồ này kia, thì thằng cộng sản nó làm được là mình phải làm được hơn nó, chứ không có thể nào mà mình để cho nó nghĩa là thao túng cái miền Nam này được.
When I see the widows, the orphans, when I see so many tombs, so many sacrifices for the freedom and liberty of Vietnam, I reaffirm again that the whole people of South Vietnam will resist again any peace which demand the rendition of South Vietnam and which will give the South Vietnam to the communist aggressors.
People are calling you the obstacle to peace, Mr. President.
When it's a just peace, a guaranteed peace, there's no one single obstacle in Vietnam. There will be, as long as it's a non-just peace, a surrender peace, a peace which gave the South Vietnam to the communists, who asked the South Vietnamese to surrender the communists. There will be not only 1 Thieu, but 7.5 million Thieu who are against that.
What is the next step? What is the next step, Mr. President? What is the next step now?
Ask the communists. We are ready to discuss with them. This morning in my message, I said that today I ask North Vietnam to discuss seriously and to sign any peace and ceasefire agreement in Paris or anywhere.
Mr. President, how long do you think it'll be before North Vietnam and South Vietnam are reunited?
Heaven knows only.
Is this the beginning of the political campaign, sir?
Pardon?
Do you consider it a victory?
What kind of victory?
Is it a victory for you, Mr. President?
Oh, sure. Because if the communists can continue the war, and if they still nourish the hope to win military the war, they never sign the agreement. They never accept the ceasefire.
Assuming the worst, Mr. President, that there is a resumption of hostilities, are you confident now that without the Americans you can continue to fight against the North Vietnamese successfully?
I think that if the communists violate the ceasefire agreement and if they wage the new war, the war will re-begin with the new condition. Not only the Vietnamese people will fight, but I think the war will have a participation of many other wars. Why? The reason is very simple, because the communists continue to violate the ceasefire. Because after 18 years of war, we cannot imagine that the South Vietnamese who fought for self-defense, they continue to fight for any other reason. But the communists, they have the reason to continue to fight because they need to have more people, to have more hamlets to prepare the future elections. That's the reason why they continue to fight, to get more hamlets and more people.
Sir, some of us have been in the field and in the villages, and we have seen South Vietnamese troops in what we believe to be violations of the ceasefire. Have any of your troops violated the ceasefire?
No, we don't need to do that because we control almost of the people of South Vietnam, and so we have react legitimately only when we are attacked. You can see since a month we have never mounted any offensive attack in the remote area or in the secret base of the communists. And we fight only around the village or inside the village when the communists come to attack and to shell. You can say that the South Vietnamese troops, it's ridiculous for the South Vietnamese troops shelling their own people, but the almost for more than 4,400 cases of violation, there's more than 1,500 cases of shelling on the civilian population.
We now find that all of American forces have returned, and the people of Vietnam have the strength to defend their own independence and their right to choose their government in the years ahead. We know that this would not have been possible without the courage and also the leadership that you have displayed in providing an example for the people of your country and the courage that they have exemplified in the sacrifices that they have made. And now as we meet today for 2 days of meetings, we meet to work toward the building of peace. A peace for your land which has suffered so much, and your people who have suffered so much. And a peace as it is built there, which can contribute to lasting peace in the world.
Today, while over 300,000 American troops still stay in Europe to bolster the defense of Western Europe, more than a quarter of a century after World War II was over, we in Vietnam are proud that, thanks to your help, the Vietnamese Defense Force were able to repel an all-out communist invasion last year, at a time when American ground troops had been withdrawn. This made possible a peace with honor, whereby the communist aggressors in the Paris Agreement last January had to recognize formally the right of self-determination of the people of South Vietnam. My visit also happens to coincide with the end of the first 60 days of the ceasefire, which saw the complete withdrawal of American troops from Vietnam and the safe return of all American prisoners of war. Thus, I do not think it would be an exaggeration to say that my visit, which takes place at a moment of joy for many reunited American families, hopefully will mark an end and at the same time a new beginning. The end is to the large-scale military conflict that for many years has ravaged our land and caused serious dissensions within your own country. On this difficult period of our history, I would not wish to elaborate for the simple reason that I think it's best for all of us to turn the page and look into the future. When you reduce the military aid to 700 million, our combat efficiency has been reduced to 40%. I think that the situation would be very dangerous for South Vietnam. Would be very dangerous.
Would
And
you
they-
lose provincial
Not only
capitals?
that, the decision, the political decision, is will encourage the North Communists to go ahead, to hurry their takeover of South Vietnam. Also, psychologically, the South Vietnamese people will see clearly that the United States have a wash hand and abandon South Vietnam and discourage our people and our army.
Mr. President, there's some people who say that Henry Kissinger and Le Duc Tho has brought peace to North Vietnam. Some people are saying that Dr. Kissinger and Le Duc Tho have brought peace to North Vietnam because the war is still in South Vietnam. What do you have to say about that?
I think we have to look at the reality. In reality, North Vietnam have complete peace. They have no more bombing. They have no more blockade. They are free to infiltrate the troops, the logistics, the weaponry to South Vietnam to continue the war. Meanwhile, they are safe. No retaliation,
no reaction from the United States, even from South Vietnam. And they are free to develop economically their country. That in some sense it is just in the sense that only North Vietnam has a peace, and South Vietnam remain solely the victim of the war, and they are unpunished. The North Vietnamese are unpunished. I think it's not fair, it's not just when we talk about peace.
Mr. President, what are South Vietnam's needs to continue and sustain the level of combat at the present time?
Yeah. I would like to remind you that even last year, in the assumption that the violation of the ceasefire would be at the moderate level, we need 1.4 billion to be sufficient on the one-to-one replacement and to cope with the small violation of a ceasefire by the communists. And you remember that through the appropriation, through the authorization, it has been reduced to 1 billion. And through the appropriation, it's been reduced to 700 million. And now the United States government asked the additional 300 everything to cope with the generalized offensive that the communists have launched 6 months ago. It's the reason why we continue to lose ground, and people, many bases has been overrun because we lack of support, we lack of mobility, and we lack of ammunition. Now the general offensive is already launched by the communists 1 month before, even before they take over the Phuoc Long province. And I think that what we need is have enough means, not only to sustain the current situation, but as long as the communists sustain the momentum of their offensive, I think we still need the means to defend ourselves, because what is the real balance of force now between us communists? They have almost double the strength in the force viewpoint. They have at least triple the logistic. They have a build-up since 2 years. So we are now fighting against them from 1 to 3, and they are attacking us from 3 to 1. And in 1972, they could only sustain the momentum of their offensive for 3 months. Now they can sustain the momentum of their offensive for at least 1 year. So we have to foresee what happened.
Mỹ đến nhận ở đây không đến được như vậy. Đặt ra một cái chương trình Việt Nam hóa chúng ta chấp nhận, rồi không hẳn Việt Nam hóa. Không Việt Nam hóa rồi hứa bằng cộng sản xâm phạm thì sẽ phản ứng, không phản ứng. Thì chỉ còn có một cái chuyện tối thiểu là đưa đồ cho người ta đánh mà không đưa. Thì thử hỏi cái đó là cái gì? Thất hứa, thiếu công bằng, thiếu tín nghĩa, vô nhân đạo, đối với một đồng minh đang chịu đau khổ chịu nhục, chống trên cái gì của một đại tổ quốc. Sở dĩ tôi từ hôm nay là bởi vì hôm nay ở bên Hoa Kỳ Quốc hội đưa cái vấn đề viện trợ ra mẫu xe. Tôi nghĩ rằng cái hành động của từ chức hôm nay biết đâu ngày mai từ cái chỗ nó lên 300 nó lên tới 752 hay là lên 1 tỷ mới, rồi tới tấp cầu hàng không chở xe tăng đại pháo rồi hắn còn thì qua đây viện trợ. Tôi hy vọng như vậy để coi thấy Quốc hội Hoa Kỳ có đạo. tôi cũng hy vọng rằng trong cái lúc mà tình thế quân sự căng thẳng tại quân khu 3, quân khu 4, ông Thiệu đi rồi và ông có hứa thì biết đâu còn 3-4 ngày, còn 1 tuần cái chuyện đó có thể làm được. Nếu như tôi để ngày mai ngày mốt mà tôi mới từ chức mà cộng sản khởi sự tấn công thì em nó có thể lúc đó nó nói giờ thể quá làm được. Bảo Huy Kỳ có khẩu Huy Kỳ cái viện trợ 350 nó phải xong chứ này kẹo quá thì tôi nói lỡ 350 cũng thể lên 722 rồi. Không sớm hơn mà không trễ hơn, bởi vì tôi nghĩ rằng cái thời gian tính mà hôm nay đã thay đổi cục diện được quân sự của phải chiến trường mình.